world of differences. So, who am I? I am the Director of Diversity and Inclusion for a large urban research university in the Midwest. I am also the president and founder of Claire Alden Publications, a hybrid publishing company. I am the president of the Virginia Park Community Investment Associates, a nonprofit organization, and I'm also the senior pastor of Visions International Ministry. Now, for the most part, I compartmentalize all of those roles, and I typically never include all of them during one presentation. So you might be wondering, well, why are you doing it today? Well, today, I'm going to share that by recognizing your own aspects of diversity, you can, number one, recognize the value that you offer. Number two, create your own story inventory. And number three, gain exposure for the service that you provide. So in my various roles, and I just mentioned some of them, I work with different audiences. So with my students, I share that I'm a native Detroiter. That builds a connection if Detroit is their hometown. That's an aspect of geographic diversity. With my same students or with other students, I can share a connection if I find out that they went to my same high school or went to the same university that I attended. That's an example of educational diversity. With the healthcare audience, I can share that I'm the caregiver for my elderly parents, one of whom has Parkinson's. That's an example of experiential diversity. With a group of mental health professionals, I can share that I'm the mother of a child with schizoaffective disorder. That's an example of medical diversity. If I were sharing with a group of real estate investors, in my introduction, I could include that my childhood memory of writing out the final money order for my grandparents so that they would be homeowners back in the 1980s. And I could also share that over the next 2 decades, my family purchased multiple homes on the same block. I could give that in my introduction, and that's an example of economic diversity. And then finally, if I were talking with the women's group, I could talk about being a domestic violence survivor or being divorced or the fact that I'm looking forward to an empty nest as a mother of 8. That's an example of familial diversity. So my question to you is, what are the correlations that bridge the gap between what you offer as a speaker and your audience? How can you speak the language of your audience and relate that to your own experiences? My point is this: recognize that you have something to offer. And as a speaker, you are not limited to the audiences that you've served in the past. When you recognize the value that you offer, you can speak their language and establish a greater connection. So what hats do you wear? You can go ahead and drop those in the comment box. What hats do you wear? What are the types of things that you do? What are the things that you have experience with? What titles do you hold? What are some of your significant experiences? And again, you can go ahead and drop those in the comment, whether you're watching live or watching the replay. I'll give you some examples that you can think about that may be points of connection that could connect you with your audience. Did you grow up in an urban area, or did you grow up in a suburban area, or was it a rural area? Were you ever a vegan or a vegetarian? Have you ever had to search for gluten-free products, or have you been lactose intolerant? What about sports? Are there any sports that you've played? What about golf or track or football or basketball or any other sport that you've played? How about musical instruments? What about the violin, the guitar, the piano, or the drums? How does each relate to the top 3 industries for speakers, authors, and coaches? And most of you know what those are: health, wealth, and relationships. If you can tie any of those experiences back to health, wealth, or relationships, then you already have a dynamic intro for new audiences that you can share with. As you think of your own significant experiences, have you created a story inventory for those diverse experiences? How can you tell your story in a way that will increase their sales, decrease their costs, or increase their productivity? These are all things to think about as you are preparing your speech. So some of you may be wondering, what's a story inventory? Perhaps you've never heard of it referenced in that manner. But a story inventory is simply a list of short phrases, maybe 3 to 5 words, to remind you as the speaker of experiences that you can draw upon to connect with your audience. So all of those things that I asked you to think about, whether it was sports played or musical instruments that you played, those are all things that you can start to build your story inventory with if you don't have one already. A good speaker shares stories. However, a great speaker uses storytelling effectively with engaging snippets of your life that create an emotional connection to your audience. Well, what if you don't have any speaking engagements lined up because of the stay-at-home order? Well, now is an excellent time to create the content to showcase the value that you bring as a speaker, author, and coach. Content is king. Your signature topic remains the same, but by incorporating diversity, you expand your horizons and capture the attention of new audiences. Here are 10 ways that you can showcase your value and develop a content catalog to share with prospective booking agents or conference organizers. The first one is podcasts. Many people are looking for podcast guests to highlight, to showcase, and you can be one of those. Virtual interviews is number 2. Pre-recorded videos are number 3. 4 are ebooks. Number 5, checklists. Number 6, webinars. Number 7, case studies. Number 8, live Q&A. Number 9, virtual trainings. And number 10, finally, social media posts. I wanted to save that for last because that's probably the more popular one, which most people think about anyway. Finally, you need exposure to gain visibility, build credibility, to earn the trust of your community. If you're trying to increase sales, if you're trying to increase the number of clientele you serve, or if you're just trying to stand out amongst your competition, they need to know what you offer. And that, my friends, is the value of diversity in a world of differences. The value of diversity in a world of differences is my signature topic. And just as I was able to share snippets and nuggets of various types of diversity with you today, you should be able to take your signature topic and create workshops or, again, any of the 10 items that I listed previously. So if you would like to contact me with more information, or if you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me at Dr. DC Matthews on all the platforms. I look forward to connecting with you, and thank you for allowing me to share the value of diversity in a world of differences. Thank you.